Year 3295, in the far reaches of the galaxy. The Galactic Council gathered in their massive floating citadel, a structure so large it blocked out the stars behind it. Hundreds of alien civilizations were represented, each with leaders towering, shimmering or pulsating in forms unimaginable to humans. They were united by one purpose today: to discuss the human threat. Humans had spread slowly, quietly, across the stars, building colonies and exploring systems the Council had considered off-limits. Most aliens ignored them at first, thinking humans primitive, insignificant, and weak. But their growth could no longer be ignored. In the Council chamber, the debate was loud, filled with contempt and mockery. "They are tiny, fragile creatures," hissed Zerth, a six-limbed warlord from the Creel cluster. His voice echoed in the chamber like rattling chains. "They barely survive in one star system. How could they ever challenge us?" A glowing counselor from the Valeth species snorted. "Primitive weapons. Fragile minds. A handful of their kind could not even defend one colony against a single cruiser from our fleet." Laughter erupted around the room. Each alien imagined humans cowering, begging for mercy, trembling under the might of the Council's fleets. Meanwhile, in the dark outer orbit of Earth, the human command center braced. The planet below them glittered with cities, orbiting satellites and hidden defense systems, all dwarfed by the Council's massive, approaching fleet. Hundreds of warships, glinting with advanced alien tech, moved with precision, scanning for any resistance. But Earth was ready, or as ready as it could be, given the enormous disparity. A young human commander, Rena Voss, stood in front of a large holographic display, her eyes sharp and calculating. She was small, almost fragile in the eyes of anyone who didn't know her. But there was a fire in her gaze that made those who met it pause. Her officers murmured nervously. The Council fleet was unlike anything they had faced before, dozens of ships larger than the largest human colonies, bristling with weapons capable of erasing cities in minutes. "Commander," said Lieutenant Derek, voice tense, "we're outnumbered at least 50 to 1. Any engagement is suicidal." Rena did not flinch. She tapped a sequence into the console. A hologram of the Council fleet appeared, moving across the stars like predators closing in. "Then let them see why they should run," she said quietly. Across the void, the Council's flagship loomed like a black mountain against the light of the sun. Sensors scanned every corner of space. They detected nothing unusual around Earth. No massive fleet, no hidden weapons. Just a fragile blue planet and its tiny defenses. Rena pressed another key. Calm, clear message echoed from Earth's communications array, amplified across all Council frequencies. "We warn you. Run." The Council erupted in laughter. Aliens clutched their sides, shook with amusement, and pointed at their view screens. "How bold, how foolish. The humans dare to speak," hissed Valeth, anger cutting through his laughter. "Cannot even defend their own planet. How can they think they can threaten us?" Zerth banged his clawed hand on the Council table. "Let them try. We will crush them like insects." But the laughter stopped abruptly. The sensors of the Council's fleet picked up something subtle, almost impossible to notice at first. Massive energy signatures, hidden in orbit, cloaked. In the shadows of asteroids and long-abandoned satellites. "Commander, what is that?" One of the alien officers shouted, pointing at the readings. Their screens showed a pattern, faint but unmistakable. Ships, large ships, drifting silently. Invisible to standard scans. Valeth's voice trembled. "Impossible. That region has been abandoned for centuries. There should be nothing there." Rena, watching the Council's confusion unfold through hacked sensors, allowed a faint smile. The humans had hidden their most dangerous weapons here for decades. Ships older than most Council members, upgraded with technology salvaged from the far edges of explored space. The laughter on the Council's flagship shifted. Confusion replaced amusement. Then fear. The largest human warship, barely visible. Even to the Council's powerful sensors, powered up. Its massive engines ignited, and long-dormant weapons hummed to life. Energy signatures flared like a heartbeat across the dark void. Zerth's voice cracked with disbelief. That ship should be dead. It cannot even move. How? Swallowed hard, his many eyes scanning the readings. They've graded it. But how Rena's voice cut through the councils comes again. Run. We will not attack first, but we will defend ourselves. If you come closer, you will regret it. The council's warlords fell silent. The mockery had vanished. The thought of underestimating humans had suddenly become terrifying. Their fleet of mighty warships, confident just moments ago, now drifted uncertainly. The unknown weapons hidden in orbit older than most civilizations in the council made even their bravest hesitate. Rena turned away from the display, heart pounding but steady. She knew the council expected fear from humans. Instead, it was the aliens who now tasted the first hint of dread. The message was simple. One word: run. But as the energy readings continued to spike, the council realized the word carried a weight they could not ignore. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council hesitated, and in that moment, humans were no longer weak. They were a warning, a storm waiting to break. The void of space held its breath. The next move could decide the fate of billions. The Council's fleet drifted in orbit around Earth, unaware of the full scale of the hidden threat. Their warships glinted in the cold light of the sun, massive and deadly. Hundreds of alien commanders were confident. They had faced countless civilizations before, all of them crushed easily. Humans, they believed, would be no different. But humans never fought the way the Council expected. Deep in the shadows of the asteroid belt surrounding Earth, centuries-old human warships waited. They were ships from the great hidden fleet, vessels thought lost long ago in Earth's history. Some were battleships, huge and sturdy, with hulls scarred from old wars. Others were stealth frigates, small but fast, hiding weapons more advanced than anything the Council had imagined. Rena Voss stood in the command center of the flagship Aurora. The screens around her showed the Council's fleet moving arrogantly. Unaware, the human fleet was almost invisible, cloaked by decades of careful planning. Hidden in the shadows of drifting asteroids and abandoned satellites, sensors show they're scanning the system again, Lieutenant Derek said, his voice tense. They're looking for something, but they won't find it. Rena's eyes glinted. Good. Let them look. Let them laugh a little longer. When they realize, it will be too late.
Across the asteroid field, the human ships powered up slowly.
Engines hummed quietly, weapon systems flickered to life, and shields glowed faintly. The fleet had been sleeping for centuries, but now it stirred, alive with purpose. For the Council, it was impossible. Every alien commander assumed humans were primitive, incapable of keeping such ships operational. They had not even scanned Earth's orbit fully. They did not see the traps waiting for them. Captain Derek asked nervously, "What is the plan?" "Can't face their entire fleet head-on." Rena smiled slightly, bloodless and calm. "We don't have to. The fleet we have hidden here isn't meant for direct attack. It's meant to teach them a lesson, a warning. It will see the human mind and fear it before they can even fire a shot." Meanwhile, the Council's scouts moved closer, hovering over Earth's orbit. The aliens were curious now, scanning the planet for defenses. They had ignored the humans' warnings before, but the simple word "run" lingered in their thoughts. Then the first signs of the hidden fleet appeared on their sensors, faint energy readings. Almost too small to notice, like shadows of ships drifting in the void. A scout ship sent a signal back to the flagship, unknown energy readings. Massive, hidden, could-be dormant warships. The Council laughed nervously. Dormant warships. Impossible. Humans have no such technology. This must be a sensor. Error, but the humans were ready. At Rena's command, the fleet's stealth systems shut off gradually, revealing the hulks of ancient battleships. Their hulls shining with newly applied energy shielding. Plasma cannons blinked on, targeting systems synchronized, engines humming in unison. The Council's scouts suddenly realized the truth. There were dozens of massive ships, hidden in plain sight, waiting for a single command. Impossible. shouted Zerth from the council chamber. Those ships, they should be destroyed. They cannot exist. Rina's voice came through the coms, calm, confident, and deadly. They exist because we made them. This because we survived when everyone else counted us dead. Run while you can. The council members froze. The laughter had died. Confusion replaced. The council fleet drifted in orbit above Earth, massive warships glittering in the cold vacuum of space. Hundreds of alien commanders were still reeling from the revelation. Humans were not weak. Humans were hidden, prepared, and far more dangerous than any record suggested. Rina Voss watched from the bridge of the Aurora. The ancient warships of the hidden fleet moved like shadows among the asteroids. Engines barely glowing, weapon systems fully online. Commander Lieutenant Derek said, voice tight with anticipation, "They still think they can destroy us. They don't know we're here. What's the order?" Rina's eyes scanned the council formation. We strike smart, not brute. Hit their sensors first, then disrupt their weapons. Make them see the cost of underestimating humanity. The human fleet shifted. Frigates, stealth cruisers, and massive battleships began moving in synchrony. Though slower than some alien warships, their strategy made them deadly. Every ship had a role, every move planned to the second. From the Council's flagship, Valeth and Zerth watched, still unsure of what they had discovered. Sensors were picking up more energy spikes. "There," one officer shouted, pointing at a distant asteroid. "Ship signatures." "There." "Moving?" The aliens laughed nervously. "It's impossible," Zerth growled. "They cannot move so fast. They are relics, old machines." "This is an illusion." Rina's voice cut across, comes calm and cold. "Not an illusion. This is your warning. You came to conquer Earth. Now see what it truly means to face humans." The first attack was subtle. Stealth frigates emerged from asteroid shadows and fired plasma pulses at the Council's scout ships. The pulses were precise, disabling engines and communication arrays. Without destroying the ships, confusion spread among the aliens. How? How do they know where we are?" Valeth hissed. "Pattern recognition," Zerth growled, his claws tightening around the console. "They have studied us." Rina watched as the Council began responding, firing long-range cannons at the shadows. Each shot missed. Each pulse of human energy disrupted their targeting systems. Alien weapons overloaded and short-circuited in mid-space. The humans had not even fully revealed themselves. Every movement was carefully calculated, a dance of precision and misdirection. Suddenly, a massive battleship, centuries old but newly armed, glided forward from the shadows. Its weapons activated, humming with energy. A single salvo hit a Council cruiser near the front lines, vaporizing its outer hull in an instant. The Council gasped. This was not a warning anymore. This was a demonstration of power. "Pull back," one alien general shouted. "This is insane. They are not weak. They are dangerous." But it was too late. Humans had already penetrated the fleet's formation. Stealth ships hit supply lines, energy conduits, and communication relays. Alien crews were thrown into chaos, unable to coordinate their attacks. Rina's voice rang over the coms to her fleet. "Keep pressure. Them realize they cannot control this battle. Do not waste energy on unnecessary destruction. Focus on teaching them respect." In orbit above Earth, the battle escalated. The Council's arrogance was shattered by human tactics. Each human strike was precise, strategic, and unpredictable. Alien warships were forced to maneuver defensively, falling into traps laid centuries ago. Mines, hidden energy grids, and automated defenses activated without warning, striking the alien ships as they advanced. One of the Council's warlords, arrogant and cruel, demanded a direct attack. "Destroy the humans. Show them our strength." Rina saw him on the sensor map, his flagship cutting toward the asteroid field. She nodded to Derek. "Phase 2, let's teach them fear." Suddenly, massive energy beams fired from multiple hidden battleships. Alien ships were struck simultaneously, shields collapsing under the coordinated assault. One by one, Council warships began losing control, drifting helplessly as the human fleet pressed their advantage. Zerth's roar echoed through the Council. Flagship. They are ghosts. How can they strike from nowhere? Rena remained calm. This was exactly as planned. She watched the enemy scramble, their formation breaking apart under the onslaught. Humans were showing not only power, but intelligence, strategy, and patience. The first major casualty was Valith's cruiser, caught off guard by simultaneous attacks from 3 directions. It erupted in a flash of energy, debris scattering into space. Alien crews panicked, firing wildly, trying to regroup. Rena's voice cut across the void again. This is what happens when you underestimate humanity. Heed the warning, or face the consequences. Even from the safety of her command bridge, Rena felt the tension of the moment. Each decision carried the weight of billions. Every shot fired, every maneuver executed could turn the tide. And yet, despite the overwhelming odds, humanity held the upper hand. The Council fleet, once so proud, was now disoriented and fearful. Alien officers argued, blamed each other, and panicked as their ships were systematically neutralized. Still, Rena did not fully reveal her hand. Humans' true strength, the ancient upgraded fleet hidden for centuries, had only begun to awaken. A single word had started it, run, but the Council had not yet run. That was their mistake. In the shadows of the asteroid belt, the human fleet moved with silent precision, each ship a silent predator, each weapon a message. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was ready, and the first strike had only just begun. The Council fleet, once confident and arrogant, was now in chaos. Alien warships drifted erratically as human attacks disabled their systems one by one. Officers shouted over the alarms, but their coordination had shattered. Valith, the Council's representative, slammed a clawed hand against the console. How? How can this be? They are relics. They should not move, should not fire, yet they strike with precision. Zerth growled, pacing the bridge of his flagship. It doesn't matter. We have numbers. They are few, and we are hundreds. Crush them, destroy them all. But the Council fleet could no longer act as one. Confusion and fear had replaced command. Ships collided with each other as maneuvers went wrong. Energy blasts intended for humans struck their own vessels. Deep within the asteroid belt, Rena Voss watched calmly. Her fleet moved like shadows, using the terrain and stealth to confuse the aliens further. Each strike was calculated, each maneuver a lesson in precision. Commander Lieutenant Derek said, voice tense, their flagship is regrouping. They're trying to rally, but it's too late. They can't coordinate. Rena nodded. Good, let them see that arrogance is dangerous. Let them understand what happens when they underestimate humanity. Back on the Council's flagship, panic spread. Officers argued violently, blaming each other for the disaster. Orders were ignored or delayed. Valith shouted at his lieutenants, but his voice carried no authority. They're not like the stories, one officer cried. Humans cannot be this organized. You've never seen anything like it. Zerth growled in frustration. Pounding the console, we underestimated them. We mocked them. And now we face the consequences. On the outer screens, the human fleet had already disabled several key Council command ships. The aliens were losing communication and control. Their confidence, which had been absolute, now crumbled under the weight of reality. Rena gave the order to continue. Phase 3. Target their systems, not their crews. Let them survive to learn. Human frigates and cruisers struck again, this time focusing on disabling engines and communication arrays. Alien ships spun helplessly in space, unable to respond effectively. Panic grew in the alien ranks. In the Council chambers, Valith and Zerth stared at the screens, their arrogance shattered. The humans had outsmarted them, using strategy rather than sheer force. The alien fleet, designed to overwhelm any opponent, was now vulnerable, trapped in chaos they could not control. We should retreat, an officer whispered, fear in his voice. We cannot fight them, not like this. Valith shook his head. Violently. No, We cannot show weakness. Retreat is defeat. But it was too late. The humans had already proven that they were no longer weak. Their hidden fleet, upgraded and strategic, had shattered the Council's confidence. The word, "Run from Earth," had been more than a warning. It was a statement of power. Rena watched the Council fleet carefully. She knew some would retreat, some would continue the fight foolishly. Either way, humanity had sent its message. The galaxy would no longer see humans as weak or primitive. Suddenly, a Council scout ship appeared from the rear, attempting to flank the human fleet. Rena's tactical officer, a veteran named Kale, noticed the movement immediately. "They're trying to outmaneuver us," Kale shouted. "If they succeed, they could regroup." Rena tapped the command console. "Not if we act first. All units, focus on intercept. Let them see the cost of arrogance." The Council fleet drifted in disarray above Earth. Their arrogance had evaporated, replaced by confusion and fear. Lerms spun aimlessly, alarms blaring as systems failed one by one. Across their ranks, alien commanders shouted at each other, desperate to regain control. But humanity was not done. Deep in the shadows of the asteroid belt, the hidden fleet moved as one. Rena Voss watched from the Aurora, calm and precise. Her fleet had waited for this moment, the moment when fear had already settled in the hearts of the Council's warlords. "Phase 5, she said quietly. "Let them feel the full power of humanity." Ancient battleships, once thought lost to time, emerged from stealth. Engines flared softly, weapon systems glowing with energy. These ships were enormous, larger than any Council cruiser, yet sleek and deadly. Each one had been upgraded with stolen alien tech, combined with human ingenuity. The Council scrambled to respond. Energy shields flared, cannons powered up, and warships moved into formation. But it was too late. Humans had anticipated every move, and the aliens were about to face the consequences of underestimating humanity. From her command bridge, Rena watched the Council's flagship. It had been the first to mock humans, and it would see the full force of their power. She pressed a button, and a massive pulse of energy shot from the hidden fleet, hitting the flagship's shield with perfect precision. Sparks flew, systems shorted, and alarms screamed. "Commander," Derek shouted, "they're trying to regroup." "Let them," Rena replied. "We'll show them the cost of arrogance." Human ships moved in perfect synchronization. Stealth cruisers flanked from the sides, disabling weapons arrays. Battleships fired coordinated volleys, striking shields, engines, and communication nodes simultaneously. The Council fleet, despite its size and numbers, was paralyzed by the unexpected tactics. Valeth and Zerth shouted at their officers, "Target them, fire everything." But the Council's weapons misfired, hitting each other or striking empty space. The human fleet was everywhere at once, appearing and disappearing like ghosts. Each alien ship that moved forward became a target, each attempt to fight back met. With calculated precision, Rena gave the next order: deploy the orbital drones. Thousands of drones, small but deadly, emerged from hidden silos around Earth. They moved like a swarm of stars, striking at Council cruisers' weak points. Explosions rippled through the fleet, sending debris spinning into space.
Alien?
Ships panicked, trying to flee, but humans anticipated every escape route. Zerth bellowed in rage. "This is impossible. It cannot have such power." "How?" "They planned this for centuries," Derek said quietly. "They were waiting for us to underestimate them, and we did." Rena's eyes narrowed. "Fear is their weakness. Let them feel it fully." The human fleet pressed forward. Massive warships unleashed energy beams that cut through the alien front lines. Stealth cruisers disabled critical systems, leaving warlords helpless. Every strike was surgical, every move deliberate. Even the Council flagship, the largest and most feared vessel, was in trouble. Its engines faltered under multiple attacks. Systems overloaded, sparks and fire erupted across its hull. For the first time in galactic history, the Council flagship trembled before humans. Valeth's voice quivered as he barked orders, but it was too late. Panic had spread like wildfire. Aliens who had once laughed at humans now fled in terror, scattering in every direction. their confidence shattered, their arrogance destroyed. Rena watched the retreating fleet. "They have learned," she said softly. "They know not to underestimate humanity again." But she did not celebrate. Humanity had proven its power, but this was only the beginning. The galaxy would continue to test them, challenge them, and doubt them. And each time humans would be ready. In the Council's fleet, whispers spread among surviving officers. Stories of human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability would circulate for decades. Some aliens would respect humans, others would fear them, and a few would plot alliances or revenge. But the truth was undeniable. Humans were not weak. Humans were extraordinary. Rena looked at her fleet, the hidden fleet glowing in the asteroid shadows. "This is what happens when you mock us. Remember it. Humanity will always defend itself." The Council fleet continued to retreat, humiliated and terrified. Humans had struck fear into the hearts of the galaxy's most powerful leaders, proving that strength was not just in numbers or technology, but in courage, intelligence, and willpower. And the word that had started it all, run, echoed. In the minds of the Council, simple one word, yet it carried the weight of centuries of human survival, ingenuity, and defiance. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humans were not to be trifled with. And the hidden fleet, long forgotten and thought destroyed, had become the symbol of that unstoppable force. Rena turned from the screens, calm and determined. The Council had fled, but the war for respect had only begun. Humanity had struck fear, but they were ready for the next challenge, and the galaxy would remember humans were not weak. Humans were unstoppable. End of Part 5. Humans fully reveal their power, striking fear into the Council. Alien fleet retreats in panic. The Council fleet fled, scattered like frightened prey across the void of space. What had begun as arrogance and laughter had turned into chaos and fear. Alien warships limped away, systems failing, morale shattered. Across the galaxy, the news would spread. Humans were not weak. Humans were not to be mocked. Rena Voss stood on the bridge of the Aurora, watching the Council retreat. Her eyes were calm, yet a fire burned within them. She had led humanity to a victory not of destruction, but of respect, a lesson carved into the hearts of the galaxy's most powerful leaders. Lieutenant Derek turned to her, awe in his voice. They actually ran, every last one of them. They've never faced anything like this in centuries, Rena nodded, and they will never forget it. Let this be a warning to anyone who underestimates humanity. Across Earth's orbit, the hidden fleet returned to the Shadow's engines. Cooling weapon systems powering down. Centuries-old warships, once considered relics, had become symbols of human resilience and ingenuity. Every alien officer who had witnessed the attack would carry the memory forever. Humans were clever, fearless, and deadly when cornered. Back on the Aurora, Rena received a report from the intelligence officers. Sensor scans showed that the Council's communication channels were in disarray. Messages of panic and confusion spread through the fleet. Some warlords blamed each other, others swore vengeance, but the lesson was clear. Humans were a force to be reckoned with. "Commander," Derek said, still catching his breath, "they're talking about us already. Across multiple star systems, they're sharing what happened here. Run, they say, and they mean it." Rena allowed a faint smile. "One word," she said softly. One word carried the weight of centuries of human survival. One word changed the Council's view of us forever. The Council, once so confident, would now be cautious for generations. Humans had turned a simple warning into a powerful statement. They had demonstrated not only strength, but intelligence, strategy, and foresight, qualities that no alien could ignore. In the days that followed, Earth and nearby human colonies increased surveillance, reinforcing defenses and upgrading fleets. Humanity had won this battle, but they knew the galaxy was vast and filled with threats. They would remain vigilant, always ready to defend themselves. Rena stood on the observation deck of the Aurora, looking down at Earth. The planet sparkled with life, glowing like a blue jewel in the darkness of space. Her heart swelled with pride. Humans had survived countless trials, faced impossible odds, and now the galaxy had learned their true power. A soft alert beeped from the control panel. Reports came in from long-range sensors. Remnants of the Council fleet were still retreating, spreading tales of the humans who had commanded ancient, unstoppable ships. Across the stars, whispers of run began to echo. Derek leaned beside Rena. "Commander, the legend is already spreading. They'll think twice before attacking any human system again." Rena's gaze remained steady. "Let them think, let them fear. But we will not be cruel. We will defend, we will protect, but we will not forget. We will never be underestimated again." Across the galaxy, alien civilizations began to adjust their strategies. Reports of humanity's hidden fleets circulated among warlords and counselors alike. Some plotted diplomacy, seeking alliances rather than confrontation. Others fled systems humans had explored, fearful of facing an enemy capable of such precision and foresight. But for humanity, the victory was more than a tactical success. It was a statement of identity. Humans were resilient. Humans were clever. Humans could turn relics into weapons, fear into strategy, and a single warning into a legend.